proclaim that he saves, declare his glory to the world and his marvelous ways. For great is the Lord, worthy of praise, and to be feared over all other gods. But the Lord made the heavens, sing a new song, splendor and majesty are before him always, and strength and glory in his house, in his most holy place. Ascribe to the Lord, ascribe to the Lord, ascribe to the Lord, and bring an offering into his courts. Worship the Lord in his holiness, tremble before him, all the earth. Say he reigns, tell the earth the Lord reigns. The world is set, it can never be moved. The Lord will judge with equity. Worship the Lord, bow and tremble in awe now. Worship the Lord in the splendor of all of his holy reign. Let the nations all say, Lord reigns, he is great and most worthy of praise. Worship the Lord, bow and tremble in awe now. Worship the Lord in the splendor of all of his holy reign. Let the nations all say, Lord reigns, he is great and most worthy of praise. Worship the Lord, bow and tremble in awe now. Worship the Lord in the splendor of all of his holy reign. Let the nations all say, Lord reigns, he is great and most worthy of praise. Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be glad. Let the sea resound, and all that's in them. Let the fields rejoice, the trees sing for joy. To the Lord they sing, he comes to judge the earth, and in righteousness and truth.
Welcome to worship this morning on what is our second last service before we finally return to in-person worship on the 28th of November, and I can't say how delighted I am that we only have one more of these services to prepare. It's been a lot of fun, it's been a lot of learning, but boy am I looking forward to getting back to face-to-face worship with all of you. So worship will return on the 28th of November. I do want to remind everybody that due to government regulations, it is going to be in person for those who are fully vaccinated only. So if you've only had one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, or if you aren't vaccinated, we'd still love to welcome you, but for the time being, it's going to have to be online only. But by all means, reach out to us, get in touch, and we are keen to support you any way we can. But unfortunately, we need everyone who's going to be attending in person on the 28th of November to be fully vaccinated. For all those who are fully vaccinated, you're also going to have proof of that. Now, for most of us, that's going to be on our phones with the QR code and the vaccination link up that we've all done already, most likely. But if you don't have that, or if you're not sure if that's going to work, please make sure you have a physical copy of your vaccination evidence, or document or certificate or whatever it is, so that you can bring that and show us, and we are sure that everyone is fully vaccinated. I do apologise for the convenience, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride for the first service or two, but it is a requirement if we're going to comply with the government regulations. But once we get over that, we're really looking forward to having you all back in the building on the 28th of November, and we'll have more information about that next week as well. We're also really excited because on the 20th of November is the beginning of Advent, and we've got a really exciting, really positive Advent season coming up around the theme of The Songs Continue, where we're going to be looking at the 5 songs of the Advent story from the Gospel of Luke over the 5 weeks of Advent and Christmas and the day after. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with you. We'll have a bit more information about that coming up soon, something that you can share with your friends and family and other people who might be interested in getting involved. So look forward to that. It's going to be really, really exciting. But before we get to Advent, we also have a few more events coming up this month. The first of which is this coming Saturday. We're having a breakfast at Surrey Dive, commencing on 9:30 on the 20th of November. So that's going to be after the community bakehouse that we have between 7:30 and 8:30, and then we'll be at Surrey Dive probably a bit before 9:30 getting set up, and looking forward to meeting as many of you there as can get there. We'll be putting the barbecue on, we'll be doing a bit of a barbecue breakfast, but again, feel free to bring some other bits and pieces to add to it if you want. We look forward to seeing you there. We also, the day after, have our annual general meeting on the 21st of November, so that's going to be after next Sunday's worship service at 11 a.m. via Zoom. So we're doing it via Zoom so everyone can be a part of it, and we don't have that awkwardness of some people being in person and some people being online, which is a little bit difficult. So if you're a member of Box Hill Baptist, you should have already received information about that meeting, so if you haven't, please let us know. And of course you'll have also received information about if you need to organise a proxy for that meeting, and also if you want to list someone as nominate someone for the diaconate this year. So if there's someone that you think needs to be on the diaconate, or someone who's on the diaconate who you think needs to be there another year, make sure you have a conversation with them and make sure you nominate them by this Friday so that we can vote for them on Sunday. And of course the final event that we want to share with you is one that's coming during Advent, is going to be a combined Box Hill Communities gathering on the 19th of December. So that's going to be a Sunday evening after all of our worship congregations, so the Bethel Chinese Fellowship, Earthen Vessels Vietnamese Fellowship and the Box Hill Baptist community will be gathering after all of our worship services on the 19th for a combined picnic/dinner. We're still working out the details, most likely at Box Hill Gardens, probably from around 6 p.m. or so. So that's going to be a really exciting opportunity after a very rough couple of years to gather as all of the communities that worship together at Box Hill Baptist, to share our experiences and to welcome each other back to in-person worship, and look forward to hopefully will be a bit more predictable year ahead of us. So I look forward to seeing you at least at some, if not all, of those events to come.
Today's reading is from John chapter 2, verses 1 to 11. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water," and they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water that had become wine and did not know where it came from, although the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk, but you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs, in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. This is the word of the Lord.
We are continuing with our series in this church with the general title of A Carousel of Hobby Horses, during which various speakers, teachers, and preachers have been invited to address a topic of their choosing, a favourite perhaps. For today, I looked through the list of sermons that I have brought to various churches over the last 20 years or so, and decided to revisit one of the texts that I have most frequently addressed. There were a couple of texts that have received more attention, but this one seemed general enough, whereas others were very specifically for certain days of the church calendar, such as Easter or Christmas. It surprised me that it was from John's Gospel, as I admit to finding it the most difficult of Gospels to preach from. Generally, the Gospel of Jesus is about celebration, but I do wonder how it is that Christian faith has survived, as so much has not been about celebration. After all, it starts with a figure who is executed. The early members of the Jewish sect of Christians were persecuted. As time went by, the leaders of the church became rich, even being called the princes of the church, while the ordinary members became poor. If you declared things that were not in accord with the prevailing opinion of the princes, you could be arrested, imprisoned, tortured, and executed. Modern scientific thinking includes questions about the necessity for God, and more recent thinking includes the question about who might have authority over us anyway. Christian faith has always been up for grabs. It has always been severely challenged, whether by physical punishment or by philosophical opinion and questioning. Why has it lasted? It is against all reasonable and logical argument that it should. There is a wedding in Cana. The writer of the Gospel of John nominates the actions of Jesus at this wedding as his first miracle. It is not a healing or raising the dead back to life. It involves some basic needs of life: water, wine, good company. It is about the lavish attempts Jesus makes to celebrate life. It is before we have come to the hour of Jesus, the hour which approaches gradually until it arrives, and Jesus is betrayed, arrested, and executed. Here at the wedding, the story is just beginning. There is no hint of a disastrous outcome. We do not know what that hour might bring. While we await that hour, Jesus does some ordinary things in the community, like going to a wedding. There is a wedding in Cana, and the wine has run out. If you are a guest, you might consider going home because this party has concluded and is no fun anymore. The food which is shared can no longer be enhanced by a cup of wine. The fellowship and the feasting have come to an end. If you are the family responsible for catering, you are about to be seriously embarrassed, for you have not sufficiently provided for your guests. If you are the couple, you are about to be disappointed because you yearn for your wedding to be properly celebrated and your marriage blessed by friends and family. There is a wedding in Cana, and the wine is being replenished. Enter the mother of Jesus, who perhaps does want to celebrate a little longer and to share in the joy of the couple. She knows that Jesus will be able to put things right again. She knows that he is all heart and will always help. And against his initial wishes, Jesus orders water to be put in the stone jars set aside for purification rituals. And lo and behold, the party can continue, because when the wine steward is served the water, it is no longer water, but wine. There is a wedding in Cana, and the wine is now good. It is more than just any old wine. It is not chateau cardboard. The good wine is now being discovered. As the steward of the feast tastes the good wine, we know that the character of the party is about to change. Good wine is for sharing, for mulling over, for thinking about, for noticing. In the company of friends, a glass of wine can be a good adjunct to solving the problems of the world. 2 years ago, sometime after the death of my father, we sadly sold the family home. As we cleared everything out, the last space we checked was under the house, an area accessed by a small trapdoor, specifically put in so that my father had cool storage for his wine. There were 2 boxes. One was empty and the other held just 1 bottle of red, dating back to 1996. It was going to be either really good or really bad. For the record, it was really good. No, in fact, it still is really good. The experience of drinking that wine, although perhaps not the actual taste, has stayed in my memory. The wine of Jesus is very good wine, and it is no wonder the steward corners the bridegroom to say, "Everyone serves the good wine first and then the inferior wine. After all, the guests have become drunk, but you have kept the good wine until now." The first miracle of Jesus is not just to provide some random bottle of wine. After all, anyone can turn up to a party with a bottle from the supermarket. Jesus provides really good, top-of-the-range wine, the Grange Hermitage of the day. The provision of good wine when the guests are already drunk is a game changer. Let's hope the inebriated wedding guests appreciate what it is that they are drinking. There is a wedding in Cana, and the good wine has now been supplied in overabundance. Let's say 600 litres of it, which is way more than would have fitted in my father's tiny cellar. It is probably way more than would be needed for a village wedding. So let the celebration continue, and let the celebration continue way beyond the week of the wedding. Jesus wants everyone to enjoy the best of celebrations for all of life. The celebration of the reign of God is for much more than a few hours at a modern wedding reception or for a few days at a Middle Eastern wedding banquet. It is ongoing, and there is enough wine for everyone. No one need miss out, ever. Jesus brings something new to this party. He brings the Grange Hermitage, albeit a little late according to the wine steward. It is good that he does, lest the celebrations have to cease. It is good that he does, for something utterly new is about to happen, and the world is sorely in need of it. It is necessary that he does, for a new creation can only come from God. And it is necessary to listen for his directions so that the new celebration can begin. His directions may be quite out of the ordinary, but never unachievable. They may seem like strange suggestions, but the result will be something that speaks of celebration, of the sharing of the goodness of life, and something that will have enduring value. This is where the newness of life begins, with letting Jesus create good and abundant wine in whatever way he thinks is appropriate. If it involves repurposing stone jars normally used to hold water for purification rituals, then let him do it like that. If it happens to be in the midst of a community activity, like a wedding party, then so be it. If he happens to create something of exceptional quality and in outrageous abundance, then who are we to argue? There was a wedding in Cana, and the wine ran out. But on the insistence of his mother, Jesus stepped in, ensured the celebration could continue, that everyone could drink the health of everyone else, and no one was left embarrassed for failing to provide sufficient supplies. Perhaps this is why Christian faith has lasted for so long. Enough people have seen the celebration and asked to join in the festivities of life. None has been rejected. There is so much wine, there is so much to celebrate, but we knew about the abundance of riches from the very beginning of the Gospel of John. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. From his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. Let it always be said of us that we generously shared the good wine made by Jesus in such great abundance. If you would rather not have a glass of wine, you can still sing or dance or smile or laugh or paint or play music or garden. Just do it in great abundance, 600 litres worth for the whole world. Let it always be said of us that we shared the joy of Christ.
For the days that come to
God of wedding parties and new wine, of love and laughter, dancing and singing, we pause to pray for those among your worldwide family who today may be feeling left out in the cold.
Bless the many people who must toil for such long hours that there is no time or energy to laugh or sing.
Bless your children who feel so demeaned and exploited that they view even angels of mercy with suspicion and fear.
Bless the many folk who are caught in vicious circles of evil and can see no way to escape.
Bless those among your children whose every waking hour is spent in pain and whose sleep is at the best fitful.
Bless those people who are drawn to Christ and new life, yet who fear the scorn of family, friends, or workmates.
Bless your children who once tasted the new wine of Christ, but have now slipped away into indifference or maybe despair.
Bless those folk who with much trembling hand their lives over to you this day. May they find faith and courage for the days to come.
Bless the people of your church, that abundant love may flow in our prayers, and our prayers flow into generous words and deeds.
In the name of the Christ who makes all things new, Amen.
Shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace, and the mountains and the hills shall ring forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and you'll go out with joy. You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace, and the mountains and the hills shall bring forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and the trees of the field shall clap their hands, and you'll go out with joy. You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace, and the mountains and the hills shall